Reba McEntire's journey into music didn't begin on a grand stage or under bright lights, but in the simple innocence of childhood. She often recalled singing into a microphone for the first time in first grade during a Christmas program, unaware that this small moment would set the course of her life. Music was woven naturally into her upbringing, shared with her older brother and younger sister as part of the singing McEntires. What mattered most wasn't polish or fame, but togetherness. Growing up in rural Oklahoma, Reba learned early that music could be both comfort and expression. Her family didn't chase stardom, they chased harmony, balance, and joy in the middle of hard work. These early performances planted something deep in her, not ambition, but confidence. She wasn't trying to stand out yet, she was simply learning how to be heard, one song at a time. Ranch life, discipline, and a mother's dream. Born on March 28, 1955 in McAlester, Oklahoma, Reba was raised in a family known more for rodeos than records. Her father, a champion steer roper, earned national titles, yet their life remained modest and demanding. The McEntires lived without many comforts, relying on discipline, teamwork, and resilience. Long days on their ranch shaped Reba's work ethic, teaching her responsibility before sunrise and perseverance long after sunset. Her mother, Jacqueline, carried unfulfilled dreams of a music career, and rather than letting them fade, she passed that love down to her children. During long drives to rodeos, Jacqueline taught them to sing together, turning travel into training. Those harmonies were more than practice, they were inheritance. Music became the emotional counterweight to physical labor, and Reba absorbed both worlds fully, learning that success meant effort, patience, and heart. Discovering purpose through performance. By her teenage years, music had evolved from pastime to possibility. The singing McEntires began performing publicly, winning talent shows and earning attention for their tight harmonies and sincerity. Reba also stepped into the spotlight alone, singing the national anthem at rodeo events, where her voice carried clarity and strength far beyond the arenas. One such performance at the National Finals Rodeo in 1974 proved life-changing. Country artist Red Steagall recognized something rare in her delivery and encouraged her family to consider Nashville. That suggestion didn't come with guarantees, only opportunity. When Reba and her mother packed up and moved, they left behind comfort and certainty for a future built entirely on hope. Nashville didn't welcome her easily, but she arrived with quiet determination, willing to wait, audition, and learn, trusting that her voice would eventually find the right ears. Struggles, setbacks, and staying true. Reba's early years in Nashville were defined by patience rather than praise. Although she signed her first record deal in 1975, commercial success came slowly. Singles underperformed, albums struggled, and financial pressure became constant. She performed wherever she could, often for little pay, determined to survive long enough to improve. Creative disagreements added strain, as industry expectations pushed her toward a more polished sound that didn't fully reflect who she was. Reba felt caught between chasing acceptance and preserving authenticity. There were moments when returning home to Oklahoma felt tempting, even sensible. Yet she stayed, not out of stubbornness, but belief. She trusted that country music still had room for sincerity. Those years tested her confidence deeply, but they also strengthened her resolve. Failure didn't harden her, it refined her, teaching her exactly what she would one day fight to protect. Finding her voice and changing the game. The turning point came when Reba began asserting control over her music. Her first #1 hit proved she could succeed without compromising herself, and her move to a new label gave her creative freedom she had long needed. Embracing traditional country storytelling, she found songs that matched her emotional range and personal truth. The success that followed wasn't accidental, it was earned through persistence and clarity. Throughout the mid-1980s, Reba became a defining voice in country music, winning major awards and delivering hits that resonated deeply with listeners. Her sound balanced classic roots with modern Polish, and her presence grew confident, intentional, and unmistakable. She wasn't just singing songs anymore, she was shaping direction. Audiences heard honesty, not trends. Reba had finally aligned her voice, her values, and her vision, and the industry had no choice but to follow. Loss, grief, and healing through music. In 1991, tragedy struck with devastating force when a plane carrying members of Reba's band and crew crashed, claiming 10 lives. The loss shattered her world, leaving grief that words alone couldn't reach. Music became her refuge, not as escape, but as expression. The album she released afterward wasn't designed for charts, it was designed for healing. Each song carried reflection, remembrance, and raw emotion. Listeners felt it immediately, connecting their own losses to her honesty. The success of the project surprised many, but for Reba, numbers mattered less than meaning. She honored her friends by continuing forward, carrying them with her through every note. That period reshaped her understanding of purpose. Fame felt secondary. What mattered was connection, empathy, and the ability to turn pain into something that helped others feel less alone. Reinvention, image, and the red dress moment. As Reba's confidence grew, so did her willingness to challenge expectations. A single award show appearance became a cultural moment, not because of controversy, but because it symbolized change. Known for modesty, she surprised audiences with a bold fashion choice that sparked conversation across the country music world. Reactions were intense and divided, revealing deeper debates about tradition, image, and autonomy. For Reba, the moment wasn't about shock, but self-expression. She listened to feedback, reflected privately, and stood firm publicly. Her family conversations were honest and loving, grounded in mutual respect. Rather than retreat, she continued evolving, proving that growth doesn't erase values, it redefines them. The moment marked her transition from admired star to influential figure, someone willing to accept scrutiny if it meant staying authentic to herself. Expanding beyond music and building a legacy. Reba's career continued expanding far beyond the recording studio. Television, Broadway, fashion, and business ventures followed, each approached with the same discipline she learned on the ranch. Her sitcom introduced her to new audiences, blending humor with heart and resilience. Even while acting, she remained musically productive, releasing successful albums and touring extensively. Entrepreneurship followed naturally as she built brands rooted in accessibility and warmth rather than exclusivity. These ventures weren't about diversifying income, they were about storytelling in different forms. Reba understood her audience because she was part of it. She didn't chase relevance, she earned longevity. By embracing change without abandoning her roots, she built a legacy that proved reinvention and integrity could coexist, strengthening rather than diluting her impact. Courage, conviction, and standing her ground. Throughout her career, Reba McEntire has spoken openly about fairness, inclusion, and respect, even when it carried personal cost. Her willingness to support causes she believed in sparked backlash, yet she never framed conviction as rebellion. To her, kindness and dignity were not political trends, but personal values. She accepted that not everyone would agree, choosing honesty over comfort. That courage extended to advocating for women in country music, challenging age and gender barriers with calm persistence. Rather than attacking, she questioned, inviting reflection instead of division. Over time, her consistency reshaped conversations within the industry. Reba's legacy is not just built on hits or awards, but on the example she set. She proved that strength can be gentle, that leadership doesn't require volume, and that staying true to oneself is the boldest statement of all.